Hello and welcome to episode 13 of Distraction with me, Zach, otherwise known as GoPrandle, and this is the show where I distract you with the things that have been distracting me in and out of quarantine. I hope you all saw my last episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it. I hope it helped you go and find different things to go and watch and listen to and learn more about the Black Lives Matter movement. It certainly has for me. I've been watching some documentaries, and this isn't going to be another episode of that. I'm going to make another video. Maybe the next thing I post will be another one, but I wanted to make just a regular episode because at the time I feel like a lot of people are emotionally drained, lots of people are quite sad, there's awful things going on in the world, and I wanted to add a little bit of happiness and enjoyment to it. So that's what this episode is going to be, episode 13. Thank you for coming back. I chatted to some of my friends about it who listened to this, and they were really, really nice about it, and it just made me want to make another one. So here I am, episode 13. I'm just going to jump straight into it. I've got some recommendations and things I was going to talk about this week. Then I've got a short video that I made for Instagram, but it's not quite good enough to post, and I wanted to just play it on here and then talk through why I made it and the reason I don't like it. If you like my YouTube videos, you might be interested, but that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm really debating, I might post a few TikToks at the end, like a little TikTok compilation, just to try and like cheer people up. I've got a big list saved on my phone, and I'm thinking I'm going to save them and just play them at the end. So it's going to be like 3 minutes of funny TikToks at the end of this. I don't know if I'll get copyright striked, but if you just want a bit of cheering up and you don't want to listen to me talk absolute shit, feel free to just skip to the end. I hope I put them there. First thing I want to talk about this week, because it's been quite a while since I've done one of these. By quite a while, I mean just over a week. And I started watching How I Met Your Mother again. I'm sure lots of people have seen it. I've watched it before quite a few times, except the last season, because like I said in my other podcast, the last season is absolute shit. But it's really funny watching any TV now, and I'm sure other people have talked about this before. It's really funny seeing the different things they do. Like, it was just, I've wrote down here, in one of the episodes, Marshall is going, because they live in an apartment block, and Marshall is going from like apartment to apartment, and it's near Christmas time. A little girl comes out with like a plate of cookies, and she's like, "Have a cookie." He's like, "Oh my gosh, thank you," and he eats one. And I was like, I'd never do that now. Like, just with the current state of the world, I'd never like just take a cookie off someone. Like, just think, like, in the street, like, when they hand over that food, or someone's like, "I've got this plate if you want one." I just don't know. I just think it's funny now of how cleanliness, I don't know how to describe it, how much my senses of cleanliness have heightened since all of this, and I just be so hyper aware to it, and I see it in so many TV shows and movies now. There's just so much shit I'd never do now. It's weird, which is quite interesting to see what will happen after lockdown, and to see what like future generational, or not even future generation, like generation below us, will look back on and think about, like the ways that we used to do it. Handshaking, have I talked about this before? I think people look back on handshaking and be like, they used to fucking do that. That is weird as shit. But yeah, that's just one of my thoughts from the week. Another one is Jake Paul. Some good news. Jake Paul's been arrested for criminal trespassing. Obviously, there were some videos. I didn't want to talk too much about what was happening because I wanted this to be a bit of an escape. But Jake Paul got arrested for, because he was like filmed looting, or he claims he wasn't looting, he was filming his friends who were like smashing up vehicles in LA. But yeah, he's been like charged like criminally. I can never say the word criminal. Criminal. But yeah, he's been charged. I don't know if he'll get jail time or just like a massive fine and like community service, but I think it's really, really good, and I'm really happy that something's finally caught him, because I think that's absolutely fab. If you do actually want to delve even more into what's going on in the world at the minute, the Russell Brand, about an hour ago of recording this, released a video about everything that's going on. So go and give that a watch. But one of the things I did want to talk about is, actually no, I was going to talk about my quarantine photography, but I'm going to save that until after I've done some recommendations, because one of my friends I was talking to recently said that he enjoys the recommendations that I give. And he's been meaning to like go back and catch up. So here's some new ones if you can't be asked to go back and try and find my old ones. I watched The Farewell this week. It's by Lulu Wang. It's on Amazon Prime for Prime members for free at the minute, and it's a story of a Chinese American girl who whose grandma gets cancer, and the family decides not to tell her, and they host a wedding. They make one of the cousins get married, for the pretense of all the family then moving back to China for a week to see her and talk to her. That's not any spoilers because that's like the premise of the film. That's like the opening. Really, really, really cool film. Really interesting to see different cultures, and they even talk about like you wouldn't be able to do this in America, and they talk about how China's different and the different customs and cultures that exist. And I really like Asian culture. Not where I'm like not like anime Japan, but like the whole thing with respecting the elders. Not like I don't respect my elders, but like they're at the top of the family chain, and over there like if some like they say if someone here was diagnosed with like a life threatening illness, I don't think we could just choose to not tell them. But over there, it's seen as the family's burden, not the person's, which I think is really really interesting. But yeah, fantastic film. Not too long, or if it is, it doesn't feel long. So that's probably saying something good about it. But yeah, I watched that this week, and I definitely recommend. It is half subtitled, but that's really really cool because the subtitles there and you have to really pay attention. That's when all the family's talking because the grandma doesn't understand English. The American part of the family can all talk amongst themselves without any of the family understanding what they're saying. So it's really cool to feel like you're part of the American family, knowing what's going on when everyone else is like doesn't know what's happening. Like you can take it out. Don't know if that I don't know if that makes sense, but I found it really really cool. Fantastic film. 10 out of 10 would recommend. I think I'd do a little. I often type reviews on letterboxd. If you want to follow me on letterboxd, I'm at GoPrandleSucks. Um, but yeah, fantastic film. Other three that I watched this week, I wanted to try and give some more. I see one of my friends told me about my hand movements, and it really pisses me off. So I'm trying to keep my hands under the desk. So thanks, Joel, if you're listening. Um, so I'm trying to pick three like comedies this week to talk about to try and lift some people's spirits. First one, I'm just going to jump in with an absolute classic, School of Rock, obviously starring Jack Black. It's a story of him. He has a roommate who's a teacher, and he's in a band, and the roommate gets a call to say, "Can you come sub for this class?" Jack Black answers it, and he needs money to get into Battle of the Bands. It's everyone knows the story, and then he goes to the school, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's so funny, so cool. I absolutely love it. It's such an amazing film. I watch it like every single year. The story of me seeing it for the first time was I was in Spain when I was quite young, and when you bought a Happy Meal sort of thing at Burger King in Spain, instead of getting a little toy, I could have had Wayne's World, The Truman Show, or School of Rock on DVD. That's what they were giving out as like part of their kids' meal. So I chose School of Rock, and then the next day got Truman Show. Never got Wayne's World and never seen it, but I love both those films. And School of Rock is actually one of the greatest films of all time. So definitely go and watch that if you haven't seen it, and go and watch it if you have, because it really really makes you feel happy. Next is one of my friend Josh. He recommended this to me because we've been watching a series called Avenue 5 on Sky, and it starred Hugh Laurie. And the premise of that was that it was, I've talked about it on here before, but it's a big spaceship, and they're meant to be going home in 12 weeks, but someone calculates something wrong, or the ship gets knocked off course, and then they're like, yeah, you're not going home for 3 years. Something to that extent. It's really, really funny. There's like 8 episodes. It's on catch up now. But we were watching that in Newcastle right up until the lockdown. We actually watched all the episodes together apart from the last one, which was sad. But he messaged me about a new series on Netflix called Space Force, starring Steve Carell. And I think it was written by Steve Carell. It just came out like this week or last week. And it's similar. It's about Steve Carell is the head. Well, he thinks he's going to become the head of the army, and then he becomes the head of the new Space Force because POTUS wants a new space division of the army, and then it's his adventures in being the manager of a space army for alternate America, but it feels like we're basically there. We're not that far off it, so I wouldn't exactly call it an alternate America. It feels like it might happen, but it's really really funny. It has a bit of Avenue 5 vibes. At one point, there's one of the actors from Always Sunny is in it, and you could sort of see how the Always Sunny cast would interact with it. So it's not exactly the same humour, but it's really, really funny. Definitely 10 out of 10 would recommend. I got a new phone this week, and I sat on customer service for about 4 hours for Virgin Media, twice. So one day, one the next, and I watched the whole of Space Force whilst on hold, and it really cheered me up. It was a really, really good TV show. I'd definitely recommend it. So fucking good. The last thing is I like to recommend a podcast. This probably won't be that applicable to everybody, but if you like Jackass, you probably like Steve-O, and he about I don't know if it was 8 weeks ago. It's definitely like eight episodes ago. Started a new podcast called Wild Ride, and I haven't watched that much of his YouTube channel. I pick up videos here and there where he clickbaits me. He doesn't actually clickbait, like he follows through, but when there's a catchy title, I often watch it. And I've just started listening to his podcast, and he's done. What episodes I watched were David Dobrik, Wee Man, and Tony Hawk. Because I actually started watching Tony Hawk on the Joe Rogan podcast, but then I saw that Steve-O had done one with him, and obviously they were like friends since way back when. And it's really, really interesting podcast. Loads of funny stories, obviously loads of mental stories. I like Tony Hawk as a public figure anyway, so to hear stories about him and how he was involved with Jackass, I thought that was really, really cool. And again with David Dobrik, like him as a person, and I'd known that obviously him and Steve-O had what's the word? They'd been in each other's videos, and I was like, I wanted to hear about more of that if they were actually friends. It turns out they're actually quite good friends. They both see each other as, oh my god, he's in my video, which is quite interesting. But yeah, they're only about an hour long episodes. I think there's 10 out. He's done a few others like Ronda Rousey and Shaq, like people like that. Really, really funny, really well done. Good audio. I don't know. Go and give that a try. Yeah, absolutely class. The thing I was going to talk about is I've recently been doing some photography during lockdown, which isn't like proper photography. Like when I've been going on my walks, I'm gonna do like a proper video about this on my main channel. But when I've been going on my walks, I've been taking some pictures because I really like empty streets. And pardon me, I was talking to one of my friends recently on a FaceTime, and she reminded me of when in foundation year I used to get up really, really early. And if I'd leave like someone's house at like 7 a.m. because like we've been up drinking or something, I'd often go and take my GoPro with me and try and get some really cool pictures. And if you go on my Instagram at GoPrandle, you see some pictures of like Time Bridge and the Quayside empty at like about 5 in the morning or something. And I absolutely love empty streets. So when this Corona thing hit and everyone went into lockdown, it was theoretically like the best time to be going and taking pictures because it's just so cool. And I always wanted to get back up to Newcastle and go and take pictures of the empty streets. I feel like that train has now sailed because people have started to come back out on the streets, started to fill up. So I started to I just started to take pictures of the area around me. And one of the things that discouraged me from starting to do photography, I know I do like film and like not Polaroid, disposable pictures of like my friends and stuff. Like that's more capturing memories. But when I started to try and get into real photography, I was thinking like, but what's the point? All the things that, especially in Newcastle where it feels like photography is a bit more prominent, everything that would be everything that should have had its picture taken has probably had its picture taken. So it really set me back, and I was like, most pictures I want to take have probably already been taken. I've talked about it, like when everyone goes to the Eiffel Tower, like I don't like to go to really hot touristy spots because I feel like the picture's already been taken. I know you should go and see it with your own eyes and enjoy it and live in the moment and all that. Happy to go and do that, but there is something about me that wants to get the picture that nobody else has. And in Newcastle, I found that maybe a bit easier when I realised that people go in the centre and they go to the tourist spots, and there's lots of these areas that of course you're going to take all these cool pictures, but then when you start to live where I used to live and still live in Sandyford, you see there's so much more of Newcastle that isn't documented as much, or if it is by a student, and it's really cool. And one of the things, well, I have two rules in my photography. I have two rules that I go by: is take the picture even if you think someone else has already got it. So I'm never going to stand somewhere and not take the picture, and I'll explain that in a minute. And the second is to look up. I can't remember where I learnt this, but I remember watching a YouTube video or a podcast of like a really well-known photographer or videographer, and he said, look up, and it's completely changed the way that I take pictures, and even just living, like literally, especially in Newcastle, if you just walk around the streets and look up, there's so much cool architecture, and then like normally lights, and then there'll just be, like I can't describe, it sounds really dumb, how looking, not like not like emotionally, like look up, like look for the brighter side, literally look up into the air. And that's why you see lots of my photography is of the sky, is of signs, is of architecture and like the tops of buildings, because there's just something so amazing that I feel like a lot of people do focus on what's in front of them, and like if you look down, like what's below. And not a lot of people like walk with like the head in the clouds sort of thing like I do, and I'm like constantly just walking up, which is quite dangerous because then you hit things. But yeah, so that's like the first tip I'd have for anyone, and the thing that I sort of live by when the first thing I do when I pull out a camera or video camera, like my phone or anything, is look up. And if I can try and do whatever I'm doing up there, that's like the first point of call I do. But the second thing is, what's the second thing? Yeah, sorry, always take the picture. So I went through a phase of being like, there's not really much point of taking these pictures because it's the same. So I did a really cool project when I lived in Chester. I'm not going to say the full thing, but I've probably said it before. In my first uni house, I did a cool project where one day when it was like midpoint of us all living there, me and all my housemates, I went round and I took a picture in every room, and I made this little photo book. Like, didn't post it anywhere, like obviously because it was our house. Like, I'm not going to post people's like personal rooms and stuff, but I just took it just to have the memory. And I remember at the time thinking like, this is so dumb. I live here every day. What's the point? Like why would I sit and look at a picture of something I see every day? And then when I moved out, I realized that we'll never have that again, and we'll never see that again. We'll never be able to rearrange our kitchen like that again. And it's these little things, but you do like, it really made me realize that the picture that you think you're gonna have, like the pictures of you think that are pointless, that you're never gonna look back on, do become the pictures that make me be like, wow, remember that, like remembering that look like that. And that, linking it back to quarantine photography, so there's a community building like just down the road from me, and they had, well, I took a picture of like the big empty road next to it, and that was like in the background. Then they put up this single sheet, and it was like, we will get through this. And then I took a picture of that, and I only realized this when I was going through like my photos when I went at my new phone and was like transferring them over. I've by accident collected like a montage of how heartburns looked through the lockdown, like taking pictures of streets before and after VE Day, before and after these signs and sheets that have put up like, we can get through this, when the sheets have been blown and ripped down, when people have started to come back out and the streets started to become more full. And I've got this like whole catalogue of pictures, and I just think it's really, really cool. And I didn't mean to do it, but once I realized I was doing it, I started to become a bit more proactive in doing it. And yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. Like, there's lots of times where I think, oh, and then obviously that's it. So then I was thinking back to the times in Newcastle when I didn't take pictures, when I was like, why would I take a picture of the high street? It's so many people have pictures of it. It's such a normal thing. It'll never not be busy. It'll never not be this. It's a pointless picture. But now when I look back at it, like, I don't know the next time that high street's going to be as busy as it was forever. I don't know the next time I'll see situations like the lights turning on where everyone's with each other really close, pressed up against each other. Yeah, we might get a vaccine, but even after then, I still think attitudes will be different towards it. And I think it's really strange that all those pictures before that I've taken and the ones I didn't take, I did look at them towards a bit like, that's mad, and that's why it's really important. Obviously, for people who aren't interested in photography or feel the need to document absolutely everything like me, this might sound like just bogus, but I just find that really interesting that 4 months ago the picture that I thought was pointless and I'd never look at twice is now the picture I look at and show my friends and be like, isn't this mad? Do you remember when it was like this? Do you think it will ever be like this again? I don't know. I think that's pretty fucking cool. And I hope to have more stuff like that. But I'm about to insert the short clip I've made just here, and then I'll talk about it afterwards. I think it's like 17 seconds long, so I'll see you in a second. Hello, we back. So that's the short video I made, and that came about. I was going to put this in like the description on Instagram, because I was originally just going to post it on Instagram, but as you can see, it's not perfect. There's a few shots in there I didn't really like. There's a few, it doesn't really edit well together. For some reason, I couldn't get the video at the front to switch on its side, and like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I just couldn't do it. But the point of that was, my auntie and uncle used to have this big framed picture on their wall. They used to live in, well, they still live in London. They used to live in this flat in London. I remember going down when I was really young. And I think this is right, but obviously this is my memory, and I haven't asked them about it recently. But they had a friend, and they're both artists, and they're really creative people, and their friends are really creative. And this guy, their friend, once came round, and he took a picture of like every object in their house. But if you had like 10 DVDs, he'd take a picture of one. You know what I mean? So he did that, and then he put it all in one picture. So it was this big canvas, and it was like tiny little squares, and it was like one of everything of what they own. And it was really interesting. I always like was really intrigued by it. I thought it was really cool. Then on TikTok, I saw this idea of someone sort of doing something similar where they get all something of one shape, or they do like stop motion sort of thing. And I thought I'd put that together and do like, I try and find every circle I have in the house, every square I have in the house, and put them all together, and it'd be like, and like it would do a really cool stop motion. And I'd do a little clip at the beginning and end to try and like ease it in. So I'd hold up the can, and that's where it would start. It would transition into a square, and then it was me turn the light off. So that was like the vision, to have one of like everything I could find in my house of those shapes and edit them together to sort of create this canvas off the wall, to create it into a small video. Didn't come out quite as I wanted, mainly because I really overestimate my own abilities and my own talent. I'm sure if I put, like, I might make it again and post it. I've done that before. I have so many videos on my YouTube channel which are private, and they're like ideas of videos are about a minute long. I had one once, I was in a nightclub, and I was hating every single minute of it. And no shade to whoever I was with, but whoever I was with, I was like, this is terrible, this is boring. And like the whole time I was like sour, and I was like, right, then tomorrow when I get out of here, I'm going to make a YouTube video. Like, I enjoy making videos. I'm going to put, because I always like, you can always sit somewhere and be like, oh, this is shit. If I wasn't here right now, look at all the things I could be doing. But I was like, no, I'm going to do something once I get out of this club tomorrow. And I planned this whole thing in my head, and I went home, and I think I was probably still a bit drunk, and I wrote down lots of ideas. And the next day I went out and I planned out this video, and it was like different areas of Newcastle, different shots. There was a whole thing where like I'd click and it would cut all the different videos together, and I'd like click around and it would like do a stop motion thing. I like stop motion around Newcastle. And I ended up making the video, and it was called like Out of the Club or something like that. And it ended up coming to like 70 seconds long, like only just over a minute. And I was really upset, because I had this whole idea, and when you plan it out, you think it's going to be like 5-6 minutes long, and it's going to be this really grand idea. But in order for the effect to work, especially with stop motion, especially with like the quick cuts, obviously it's quick cuts and there's lots of editing, and it really takes it down. So this is a video I've been thinking about going through all through my work, when I was doing my uni work, because I'm going to start making videos again. So I made this, and it came out to like 17 seconds. I tried. I took so many different pictures, so many different videos, and it still came out like not quite perfect. But I hope you like. I think that's a cool video. I want to start posting more on Instagram, even if they are these little videos or TikTok-esque videos, because I in my head I'm always thinking of these things to create, and I've got so many privated, and then like it sort of annoys me when. When does it annoy me? It annoys me when I don't, like, my friends can't see all the cool creative stuff I've done, but it's not because they're like, I don't give a shit. Like, when I put something out, they're really supportive, but it's because I'm not putting it out, and I'm always putting it on private, and then I'm like, but I'm never making these videos for people to see, if you know what I mean. So I really want to start putting more videos out and trying to express more. And I also think the pressure of putting videos out makes you put pressure on making them perfect. Like I said, of making this video, because I'm not posting it, I'm not going through and doing every single little thing to try and make it perfect. If I post it, I would, but yeah, like, I'm just not doing it now. But I think the pressure of posting it would really make me try and perfect it. But yeah, give a like on this if you would like to see more videos like that on my Instagram. I was going to start, after I did all my essays, I had this whole thing about how I was going to make all these videos and really set off on my Instagram and on GoPrandle. I was going to make a backlog of pictures and videos to be able to post at certain times, and really just try and make it like as professional as possible, and have like post every day and do a story and a post every day. Just make it look cool. Then the sun disappeared. So it's now like, I don't know if you can hear it in the back. It's really soothing, but it's raining really heavily, and like all the pictures I thought I wanted to take and the aesthetic I thought I wanted to create just went down the toilet, and I can't do it anymore. But Obviously, you can just create a new aesthetic. You can't only take pictures during the sun. I know social media is all fake, but you can't make it that fake. But yeah, so that's like my new idea for GoPrando. So if you're into that sort of thing, look out on the Instagram. The only things I'm going to say before I put some TikToks at the end to try and cheer everybody up is I'm going to put some links down below. One of them's for a website called Sport Pursuit. It's a camping and sports website that takes like mad percentages off. So I got a backpack on there the other day and it was like 50% off and it was absolutely so cool. But if you go through my link, we both get like a £5 voucher when we buy something, like the next time you buy something. So if you buy anything sporty, use that link. I'm also going to put all my socials down there. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching. This has been episode 13. Please like, please come back, please subscribe, please tell a friend. And I will see you next time. Thank you.
I've been having dreams.
It's not going to work at all. Oh! Oh! So much.
So what's your name?
Lift that up, please. I don't need to tell you.
Why don't you? Edward.
Hey Lily. Whoa, what are you doing in here? You never told me you had a podcast. Are you recording right now? Oh, I'm sorry.
Roses are red. Whoever weed on the seat was silly.
But it was you, wasn't it? I haven't got a willy.
Hello, I'm Justin. And today we're going to be clapping for our key workers. Oh, Mr. Tumble, are you clapping?
You guys ever just come outside to your garage, just like, oh, it's a beautiful morning, and then you just have an autistic mouse in your garage? Like,
I'm not gonna stop.
Little known fact about me, English is my second language. My first language, of course, being the language of dance.
Hi, welcome to our restaurant. How may I help you? Alright, table for two, please. But it's already 3. Do you mean tomorrow? No, not tomorrow. To eat. 8? Yeah, we can have a table ready for you for 8. No, 8's too many. There's only 2 of us. Oh, so you want a table for 2 people? Yeah, that's what I said. Sorry, table for 2. I'm afraid you're gonna have to wait. I need to wait? Okay. Hi, may I take your order?
Are you coming to the tree? It's strong enough. They say.
Hey, our landlord's supposed to stop by later. That's probably him. Hello?
I am so tired of all these girls being like, oh my god, I'm so small and quirky, I'm so small and quirky, look at me, I'm 5'2", 5'3", 150 pounds, I'm so small and quirky, bitch. If you are actually small and quirky, you would not be bragging about that shit because you would actually know the struggles of being small and quirky. I am 4'10" and 3/4 and 96 motherfucking pounds. My aunt's dog weighs more than me. You see these shoes? You see these shoes? These are a size 13. And kids, they're my little brother's shoes, who is 11 years old, who is in 5th grade, who is also taller than me. Carson, come here. How tall are you?
5'9".
5'9"? What? You're not.
Lovely, catch it now, buy it. Lovely, catch it now, buy it. Lovely, catch it now, buy it. Lovely, catch it now, buy it.
Slide to the left, slide to the right, crisscross, crisscross, cha-cha real smooth.
Hey, I just drove 15 minutes to get my favorite coffee, which you have to go in, there's no drive-thru, and I grabbed a shirt real quick, and it's a fucking pillowcase, so.
I honestly forgot about this until now, but I just got some milk and cookies because I'm home, quarantined. I'm just gonna eat the whole time. And I got this glass. I really just think we need to talk about the fact that my brother had an alter ego named DeQuell when he was 11.
Say no car.
I do that.